Justin, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So for a little bit of fun, I went back into our chats a year ago today. Do you have any idea what we were talking about 1 year ago today?
Let's see now. Well, we're both from the macro world, so it would have been something related to FX and interest rates.
Yes, that's correct. So we were talking about dollar yen. We were talking about being short rates, how positioning was affecting the price action. And now 1 year later, we are sitting on a stage in Bangkok talking about crypto. So I think needless to say, it's been an interesting year. I think before we get into it, most of the people in this room are probably not familiar with Cumberland or DRW. Can you just give a brief introduction about your company?
Well, definitely, again, thanks very much, Dan, for having me here, and the whole Hybrid team, Rod and Apollo. It's really a pleasure to join you guys and be part of this incredible summit. Cumberland is one of the largest OTC trading desks in the crypto world. OTC stands for over-the-counter. We're market makers in about 30 to 35 crypto assets in institutional size. So whether it's a crypto fund manager, an exchange, a miner, or an ICO company, we facilitate large block trades with counterparties in about 40 countries around the world. Cumberland is also part of a very large trading firm called DRW. DRW was founded 26 years ago by Donald Wilson, and today has close to 900 employees, one of the largest proprietary trading firms in the world. And it very naturally, as we got involved in cryptos in about 2012, we transitioned into starting our market-making desk, which is Cumberland. And it's been a phenomenal journey since then, bringing the expertise and the knowledge of professional trading and market-making and liquidity provision into this new world of crypto was second nature for us.
I think to put it in more common terms, has anybody here ever tried to buy or sell multi-million-dollar blocks of crypto? And if you did, how did you maybe try to do that?
No one's going to put their hand up and answer that. They don't want you to know.
Because I do want to talk to you after this. But yeah, I mean, if you want to move large blocks, $10 million, $25 million, $50 million worth of crypto, there's probably a handful, maybe on one hand you could count how many counterparties that you could go to. And I'll tell you what, most of those counterparties, they just call this guy, or they call Cumberland. So Cumberland is effectively the buyer and seller of last resort for the crypto market globally. And so there's this whole universe out there of large blocks of crypto that never see the exchange. It's just being traded bilaterally, and Cumberland is seeing a lot of that flow. So I mean, how is business these days? I mean, you've seen a huge, in the short time that you've been there, a huge change in the sentiment, in the kinds of price action and volatility that has come and gone in the market. Like, tell us about your experience in terms of the ups and the downs.
Yeah, coming from traditional asset management and financial markets, similar to Tom, my background is in traditional finance, similar to you, Dan. We are macro traders, FX and rates guys. When I moved into Cumberland about a year ago, it was a really interesting space. The volatility was like nothing I'd ever seen. The price was moving, and Bitcoin prices were moving thousands of dollars a day. At the time, there was a bit of euphoria, and so like any sort of early stage market, they undergo these sort of like any sort of early stage or emerging market asset. They go through different phases in their life cycle. And so back then in the cryptocurrency world, it's highly speculative. It's the price action is wild, volatility is wild. There's not a lot of liquidity, and so that's where we try to come in and as a large liquidity provider. So for those who are looking to move large blocks, they can come to us, and we will take that risk onto our own balance sheet as a principal. And so there's obviously positives and negatives about that. Trading as a principal and using your own balance sheet to buy or sell large amounts of cryptos, obviously the market could go in your favor or it can go against you. We've had some bad days, we've had some good days. But over time, since the end of last year, certainly, the liquidity in the market has increased, which is a very positive thing for the ecosystem. The volatility has come down, which is healthy, I would say, and natural for the development of the ecosystem. Going forward, this is going to increase further as more and more market participants enter the ecosystem. And the concentration and holding of crypto assets starts to diversify, and it's not concentrated and sitting with few players. So these are developments that will naturally occur, and we've seen that before, again, in traditional markets, where there's the CDS market in the early 2000s, the early equity markets in the 80s, or the tech markets in the 90s.
Okay, I think one of the things that maybe a lot of us in the audience, including myself, I think we would be curious to know, I mean, since you guys are doing these big block trades, certainly you must have a very real-time, pulse of the market. You have to constantly have views about what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, what's going to happen in the next hour, the next day, the next week. Like, how do you guys keep track of the markets? What are you guys looking at that we can also do?
You want my secret sauce?
I want your secret sauce. Let's hear the secret sauce.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, whenever you trade, you have to understand how to manage risk. So when an asset class is more volatile, in order to stop your P&L from swinging violently, you just simply size smaller. And so that's trading 101. That's what we learned, on our first day entering this industry. And so when we look at Cumberland, the type of personnel we employ in our desk come from a money management or professional trading background, guys who really understand how to control the P&L swings. That's paramount. In terms of other things, at DRW and at Cumberland, all of our internal risk management systems are built in-house. So one of the great benefits of the synergies and the relationship we have with our parent is the fact that we have multiple divisions within DRW that do support Cumberland, whether it's the risk management team, the treasury team, PR and communications. And so the risk management systems that we use are all built in-house, and legacy systems, the back end, the reconciliation software. This is paramount in order to run a business the way we do, and really allow us to not only manage our risk exposure well, but also ensure the security of our ecosystem and the security of the counterparties that trade with us. And that includes, of course, the front-end systems that we use, which again are built by our own developers.
There's something that I'm kind of curious about, and I come across it from time to time. I know a lot of other people that are in the space also come across this, but as the largest OTC dealer in the world, what is going on with these monster trades that brokers are coming to me, coming to my mom, our friends, and saying I can move. I have a seller of 200,000 bitcoins. Can you help me? What is going on here? And is there any anecdotes that you can help illustrate what is going on with that?
Yeah, certainly there is a probability that some of these large trades are real. For whatever reason, there are a lot of middlemen involved and a lot of paperwork that make it difficult and time-consuming to deal with them. I think having a standard process to make sure that time is used efficiently when engaging these types of agents and individuals is important. But certainly a lot of them just end up at a dead end. And with some funny stories as well. I think we were discussing last night. I was telling you, it wasn't too long ago that an agent came to myself through a friend, didn't really know who I worked for. Just my friend introduced, said, "Look, these guys do large block trades." And as we started to discuss, the gentleman revealed his seller of the coins, and it ended up being Cumberland. So he was trying to sell us our own coins. So that's something that does happen from time to time. Again, I think it's typical in early stage markets.
Okay, I have a hypothetical question. Today's Saturday. Monday morning, Reuters hits the tape. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, going full crypto, the whole gamut, trading desk, OTC, everything. What happens? Are you ready for that? How do you react to that? How do you pivot? Do you pivot?
That's a very good question. First, I'd say, it's fairly well known in the media that these large financial institutional players are looking to enter the space. Really only a matter of time before they sort of solve the infrastructure questions required for them to confidently enter the ecosystem. We certainly welcome it, and I'll be very honest about it. I think I'm extremely excited about the likes of the banks getting involved. Again, it'll further the development of the ecosystem. It'll increase the liquidity out there. It'll make price discovery more transparent. And it'll help crypto and this wonderful industry that we're in sort of move into the next phase. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, DRW is a gigantic trading firm, and even at the parent level, we trade with these financial institutions in multiple asset classes around the world. So I see it no differently that we start trading with them in the crypto world as well.
So you're not scared?
No, in fact, along with regulation, I think it's a very positive thing that we look forward to. Plus, I know the guys over there, and they're all good guys.
So one of the things that where I think that you guys may have an edge or an advantage potentially over new players that maybe from the traditional side that come into the market is that DRW, your parent, has been very strong in the HFT space, high frequency trading space, for many, many years. And that kind of expertise, when you look at crypto and it's this very fragmented liquidity, spread out all over the world, a lot of it is, exchange-based and very localized, regional. It seems like that's an advantage given your, DRW's background in HFT, an advantage for Cumberland. Is this a technology that you guys use? Is it an advantage for you guys?
As a technology-based trading firm, it's certainly advantageous to have a lot of legacy infrastructure already within the institution that could be slightly modified and tweaked to sort of facilitate our business in the crypto world. When it comes to electronic trading, certainly, that is part of the future in the space. It's certainly part of what we do as well. But I would say, in terms of latency-sensitive trading, the crypto world has not really evolved into that sophistication at this moment in time.
So, in your opinion, in the future, are OTC desks going to be nothing more than AIs and algos? Are all these sell-side traders, OTC traders at banks, at Cumberland, should they be put on notice?
Yeah, and I think, it really depends. We have multiple scenarios when we discuss internally on where the industry might go. A large part of it will go electronic, but at the end of the day, even for yourself, Dan, you've worked on some of the largest OTC desks in the world, right? Trading rates, with the biggest players. There is something to be said about trading with a human and being able to interact with them. So part of what we do, is with our top counterparties that trade with us very frequently, we provide slightly more higher touch service. These are the kind of guys that are interested and ask sophisticated questions. They want to know, what is going on out there? What are we seeing? And I do envision that as this space institutionalizes, there will be a portion of the institutional players that will enter crypto that will want to speak to people on the phone or meet face-to-face and be able to discuss what one of their counterparties is seeing in the system. So, I'd like to throw it back to you on that note. From your experience as a large OTC market maker for the majority of your career in finance, what do you think about that?
I'm pretty much of the same, position as you, same thought process. I think, let's put it this way. Would you ever have a dinner or a drink with an AI or an algo? My guess is no, I wouldn't either. But I wouldn't mind having a dinner or drink with you, and over that dinner we could be talking about the markets. I could sense things about your body language or just your tone of voice that would give me some idea of...
Am I that easy to
read?
Yeah,
you're easy to read, my friend. So that, I could glean something from that conversation that will help me understand perhaps the sentiment of the market, your positioning, what you may have down in the pipe. And if I have 10 of these conversations, and I find that 9 of those conversations all have the same very, dreary, poor sentiment, that's powerful information. And that's not information that, an AI or an algo would get or you would want to give.
Right. I think just distilling, a conversation and being able to engage with somebody and hear their ideas and what they're looking for and what they're seeing in the market and who they've spoken to. Again, that's something that at the current stage in terms of AI and technology-based trading, that's not something that's offered yet. And so I'm 100% on the same page. I mean, I think it's going to take time before we get there, and until then, a lot of the institutional players that are going to enter, they are like us from the traditional finance world, and those are going to be the guys who want to interact and want to speak to people face to face, especially if they're trading in significant size lots.
We're way over time, but I'll ask you this one last question. I mean, what can we expect to hear about Cumberland in the future, in the next, say, year or two?
Yeah, I mean, I think our internal strategy team is always looking at the developments in the crypto world. It's changing very, very quickly. The technologies are changing. The ecosystem and the business lines that everybody is involved in is continually evolving. For us, we're not a high-flying, sort of high-profile player. We like to remain under the radar. I think bringing bridging that gap between traditional finance and the cryptocurrency industry and maintaining a high level of professionalism has always been our focus. But certainly as we move forward and we analyze and assess new business lines, that's something that we do consistently. And I'm actually very excited. I mean, when I moved into Cumberland, we were a small team, and we've grown dramatically. And I think going forward, there's going to be quite a bit more news about us and what we're doing. There's some stuff that I can't talk about right now, but certainly even in the coming months. I mean, we're excited to, for example, host a gathering of some extremely influential persons in this space, and for a little bit of a brain session, a think tank session, and this is something that hasn't been done before. So knowing how we can leverage our brand, our reputation in this space, and our network, and connecting people, that's a really big part and focus of what I do out here in this region. Getting people to understand that we should work together and that we should not look at each other as competitors at this moment in time. The space is we're very early on in the development of the system right now, and so as the pie grows, the key is, can we make it grow quicker, and can we all grow together in this space? And so, yeah, definitely, pay attention to what we're doing. I think Cumberland's working on a lot of really interesting things on the business lines, as well as trying to draw people together in the space. So that's something it's a new focus for us.
Justin, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.